tarot cards are often the first step and basis for a seeker of metaphysical knowledge, like you, to discover your forever path. That could be astrology, numerology, healing arts, or any other spiritual interest you discover along the way. Elaine Ireland is not only a teacher of tarot, she is a mentor who supports you and will be there for you. Visit www.ElaineIrelandTarotMaster.com now and discover how Elaine's mentoring, tarot card and psychic readings, tarot card classes, and more help you to grow into the true being you are meant to be. Welcome to Conversations with the Ancients, where you're about to discover a whole different world than the one that, up until now, you've believed you're familiar with. World-renowned metaphysicist, practicing psychic, and tarot teacher Elaine Ireland invites you on a journey where you'll hear voices from the past, interviews with some of the greatest metaphysicians you've never heard of, because in their time, they needed to move with stealth. You'll also meet today's spirit mediums, healers, and others who will show you a side of the paranormal you've never seen before. Be sure you visit our website at conversationswiththeancients.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, hear the words of metaphysicians who blazed the trail. You're not in jail, thanks to them.
This is Elaine. Hi, folks. Elaine Ireland, and this is Marsha Perkins. She was on the or had the Aura photography equipment some years back, and was our primary primary. All of a sudden, I lost the word.
Photographer.
I'm sorry.
Aura photographer.
Aura, A-U-R-A, photographer. And in my excitement, I was reading some of the stuff that I had read online. The Aura, I think the camera that you had was the one that Guy Coggins created, this company, and he used it. Progen, P-R-O-G-E-N, inventor of the Aura camera 6000, but not the inventor of the Aura camera overall.
I don't know.
Well,
that's a good
he would have had
question.
to go back to World War I. So I know that's not, or World War II.
Oh, no.
I can't remember which.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
because I know that. What?
Are you talking about the Kirlian photography?
Right. That's old. Really,
Yeah,
the
that's
Aura
old.
photography as a whole, remember, goes way back. And you're the expert on that. Yeah. But his company created one particular camera, right?
I'm assuming so. He uses biofeedback. And I know in the Kirlian photography, that was different. And I really don't know how those cameras worked. But Guy Coggins, his camera used biofeedback to get the information from the client. And then the camera has a computer in there that takes that information and puts the right color in the right spot. It's really amazing what he did.
Yes, it is. Years ago, there was a lady here in Austin. Mac and I talked about her the other day. We're both going to try to find her name because she did the fairs. And you may have even seen her. I don't remember how far back you go with that. But she, her camera was different. It was more like a box that sat on the table rather than a tripod. And then you still put your hands on the plates. You know, your fingers had to sit a certain way on the plates. And then she'd hit a button and it would work. But it was not on a tripod like yours was. And she called hers I always say that wrong. Kirlian camera. Yeah. K-I-R-I-L-A-N, I think. And then I can't remember who followed her. I think Mac called. I can't remember whether there was somebody in between before there was Mac. And then Mac was the first one I remember on a tripod.
Right. And Mac's camera, which ended up being the one that I used after he retired, you could actually get an image of the aura whether you aimed it at a person or not, because it was getting the information from the hands. And really, the only reason to sit somebody down and have them be in the image was for their benefit, so that they could see, oh, okay, so that's what's over my head and that's what's beside me. And it gave them a point of reference. But it really isn't necessary for the camera. The camera is going to get the information about the aura regardless of whether a person's sitting there in front of it or not.
So if you were to put the black cape over everything, the camera would take a picture even through the cape.
Yes, because it's getting the information from the hands. On the pads.
Because folks, when you sit down in front of an aura to have an aura photo taken, they'll have a black, that's the only color I've ever seen, piece of material that you put around your shoulders. So really all that's from here to here. Your hands are down on a plate, left and right, or on a plate that have metal that your fingers have to fit on like this. And so I'm fascinated by the fact that it would be photographed through the black. I'm gonna have Hannah do that one of these days.
But you're not photographing through the black. What you're doing with the black is making sure there's no other color showing up in the picture, the actual picture part, that would be confusing to, when you're looking, because you really only want to see the aura colors. And again, it would be better if you didn't have anybody sitting there in front of the camera at all, because then it would be a more true representation of just the aura. Let's not confuse the face and the pink shirt or anything like that,
Next fair, we're doing a fair at the end of September. I'm gonna ask Hannah to or whoever takes it, to redirect the camera or put the black just like this. That would be fun to do. I wonder if they know that. They seem to be experienced enough in it that maybe they know it and they've just never done it.
Maybe. I think when a person gets their picture done, they want to know it's them. So they want to see their face in there somewhere, hopefully, because it doesn't always show up.
It doesn't.
Sometimes the aura is so heavy that you don't see the face anyway.
I know. I mentioned this to Mac the other day. Sometimes at the beginning of the fairs, I would look like the curly-haired rainbow clown, and then right in the middle of my face would be a color. Pick a color. But by the end of the day, it would change. And then Sunday, sometimes it would change. Sometimes I'd show up on Sunday and it'd be exactly the same thing. But by the end of the show, yeah. But I want to try that. If I do that, I'll send you a picture. I'll send you a picture.
Okay.
Of what happens. That'd be fun.
There you go. That would be fun.
How long did you do aura photos?
I was kind of going back through my notes and trying to figure out exactly when it was. I think it was in 2013 when Mac decided that he needed to back away. He needed to spend more time with his family. And Marilyn had already arranged with him to buy his equipment from him. And she was trying to get somebody to come and do it. And she kept asking and I kept saying no. And she kept asking and I kept saying no. And then finally she talked me into it. And so I spent some time with Max so that he could show me how everything really worked. And I took it over and I did it until probably a couple of years ago. I think that's when I stopped, was about 2 years ago. Does that sound right? I was trying to remember if You were still there.
Yes, and I've been out here in Elgin almost 4 years, going into my 4th year. But I think you were still there. Were you there before or right after the pandemic? Were you still doing it after the pandemic? Because that would be almost 4 years ago when things got back in order.
Yes.
Okay, so you were there.
I remember the fairs being, it was a struggle to get people to start coming back
Oh yeah.
to the fairs. Yeah,
Well, it was a struggle to find a place. Not
that too.
everybody, not everybody wanted to have crowds,
Right.
and some corporations, some hotels forbid it. There were
Yeah.
no events
Right.
even after it was lifted, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you did it for a long time.
I did it for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my questions that I wanted to ask you was how that work, if you call it work, and I know sometimes y'all worked your tails off. You had person after person after person after person, and you still had to read the pictures, so to speak. So anyway, how did that help you with your psychic growth, your spiritual growth?
Well,
They're two different things to me.
I kind of wrote some notes to myself about that. When I first started, I ended up, I went on a search for the book that would give me Edgar Cayce's explanations for each color, because I wanted to, and that's what the camera's based on, is Edgar Cayce's colors. So I really wanted to make sure that I understood the colors and what they meant and all of that. And so in the beginning, it was really all about just explaining to people what the colors on their photo meant. And as time went on, just, little insights, like, for example, if somebody had a lot of orange on their picture, I mean, my mind would immediately go to, that's creativity. So I would start asking, like, so what's your creative outlet? What do you do that's creative? And if they said I don't do anything creative, I would pull it out of them, because it wasn't true, and I knew it wasn't true because their aura was full of orange. And it was just kind of getting people to look at themselves a little bit differently. Sometimes they had to acknowledge things about themselves that they may not pay attention to under normal circumstances. So like, if somebody's a healer and they don't think they're a healer, but they're the one that everybody comes to for advice, and you just have to make the pieces fit. You know what I mean? The colors were always accurate. I had complete faith in the colors that were showing up on their pictures. It was just getting the getting it to match up, getting them to say, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense, that kind of thing. And I mean, it was intuitive to a degree, because but at the forefront of it, it was my trust in the camera. I knew that the camera worked. So it was flawless. The camera was flawless.
What about the film? The film had to be put in the camera. So were there
The
issues
film is just, yeah, the film is not that special. The film is just that Polaroid instant film
Okay.
that they make for those little Insta cameras. They still make cameras that use that film for an instant picture.
I mean, that's what they look like. It looks like the old Polaroid. The younger folks may not realize that's what it is, but the camera
That's what
is
it
for
is.
a Polaroid camera. Yeah.
The old tear them off, tear them apart, and
Pull apart.
watch them develop. Right. Yeah.
That's part of the fun too for me, was watching it develop. And then of course you don't touch the film and you don't touch the face of it until it's dry or whatever. But
Until it's dry.
yeah, for 24 hours you could look at it once or twice, once an hour,
And
once every 2 hours, and see more. Yeah.
And it's still curing. Right.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I put mine on my table, and I'd be very kind of out of view. I'd be very careful with it. I would leave it there actually till Sunday. I didn't try to bring it home Saturday night because it was still a little damp. Didn't want to risk it. But it was fun leaving it on the table and having another one done Sunday. And that would
Right.
show the public really the difference this was taken yesterday morning. This one was taken last night, Saturday afternoon. This was taken this morning. And if I have time and if the camera's still set up, I'll do another one Sunday evening before everybody goes. So that was
Right.
kind of fun to let the public, it was validation for the public.
Right.
So, yeah. But I thought I had heard you guys say something about, oh, the film has changed, or I wonder what I wonder, maybe this is a bad box of film, or how much that really affected what was given to the client.
Well,
But you're saying it's just
film became very hard to come by with the camera that I inherited from Mac. They quit making that size, and I kept going back to ProGen saying, "Okay, when are you gonna have a fix for this?" Because I knew that there was another film that was a different size, but it didn't fit that camera. And finally, they had a remedy for that. We had to send the camera back, and what we really ended up with was a new camera. They replaced the camera with one that had a new film processing portion of it that worked with the new film that's now being produced. But yes, there was, when the film when Polaroid stopped making the prior film, I was trying to track film down. I was getting it from, this guy and that guy that might have some stored somewhere, and sometimes they stored them at the right temperatures and sometimes they didn't. So occasionally we would get bad batches that had either gotten too warm or gotten too cold or whatever the case may be. But it was a real relief when they finally remedied that problem with the new camera, because the new camera handles the new film.
I have great respect for the photos themselves, truly. But the people behind the camera are the ones that make it happen. You take the pictures, but then you have to sit down or stand up with the client and say, this is what the colors tell me. You can't change the meaning of the colors. You heard me in tarot class say you can't change the meanings of the cards. You can't change the meaning of the colors, especially when it's based on something like Edgar Cayce's work. But how you explain it. And that's why I ask about how it may have helped your own psychic ability, your own spiritual growth as you worked with the public, because those photos don't mean squat unless we know what they mean.
Exactly. And it just took doing it over and over and over again, for the understanding of what I was looking at to really flesh out in my own mind, so that I could give the best explanation as possible. And, the camera I would get surprises all the time. I remember one lady came and sat down, very polished, just, very professional type of lady. And she admitted right away, I'm a skeptic about this. I don't really believe this stuff. And I said, okay, that's fine. That's right. You cannot believe. Let's see what happens. So I took a picture, and she had a lot of gold and that kind of mustardy kind of color through there. And gold was all about truth. And so I just started talking. I just let the words flow. And it was like, you're all about the truth. You tell the truth. You don't want to hear anything but the truth. It was that kind of conversation, and her eyes just got bigger and bigger the more I talked. And, I'm smiling at her and I'm saying, okay, what? And she says, I'm a judge.
I knew you were going to say.
And it's like those kind of things happened all the time, where it was always the most fun when it was somebody that has never sat with me before, so that I could get a fresh perspective and just tell them what I see. And then for them to validate that was just always wonderful. It was always wonderful.
Do you remember any of the photos that you took that had objects in the aura?
I never really honed in on objects, but somebody could have a spirit that would show up in their pictures. And that usually showed up as like a light colored mist beside them, right next to them, and not up in here, but just right beside them. And I remember there was this one older man. He came to all the fairs. I'm sure you probably know his name, but I didn't. But he had his notebook with all of his art pictures.
I remember him.
Mm-hmm. And he was very businesslike about the whole thing. I need my picture. It's time for my picture. And where were we at that? Well, it was during Obama's campaign, when Obama was running for president. And I had him sitting down and I snapped the picture. And right when I snapped the picture, apparently he heard something somebody was saying, somewhere around us that had to do with politics, and it distracted him. He said, nope, got to do it again. That one got messed up. I know it's messed up. So I said, okay, we'll take another one. I don't have a problem with that. So I laid them both down, the before and the after, and it was so funny because the two pictures were completely identical, except somebody was with him in the first picture and they had left by the time the second picture was taken. And I laughed at him and I said, I don't know who that was, but you scared them off. So, there was always just so much fun. I just had so much fun doing it. It was really a great experience.
Well, you're missed. I mean, Hannah and her sweetheart are really, really, they're good at what they do. They're both very perceptive, and they handle the crowd beautifully, no matter how busy. They're very patient. They have a good reputation. But those of us that knew you and loved you, we miss you. we want you back. We want you back. Not that Hannah and her partner have to go anywhere. They can stay too. But
they can stay. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I am trying to retire again because I've been working here at home for the past 4 years as the town treasurer. We have a town administration. We have a mayor and a town administrator and a library and a fire department and all of that stuff. So I've been the town treasurer, paying all the bills and dealing with all the reports to the state. And I'm done. I'm so done. And that's what was getting so hard about coming to the fairs when I had already moved here, but I was still traveling back and forth for the fairs, because inevitably the fair is always when I'm trying to do my quarterly reports. And it was just a really hectic, stressful time. And the July fair, that's when I'm closing the year. And it was like, I just can't do this anymore. I can't do both. I just couldn't do it. It was so hard because we'd have to race there and then race back because I couldn't miss work. There was just too much to do. I couldn't take my time. But once I'm retired, I'll be able to come for visits and just visit with people and I can time it so that I'm there during the fair. I can go to the fair and see everybody. And I really look forward to that.
You still have a daughter that live in this area?
Yeah. My daughter and her family live in Austin, and my son and his wife live in Marble Falls. So everybody's there. Yeah.
Pretty area.
Mm-hmm.
You're referring to your town, and we don't have to tell people where you live, but I will share with you that she lives in a desert state that happens to have large hills or short mountains, whatever you want to call it. She lives in the desert. There is a town in the desert. that she lives in. So for it to have a fire department, and you're telling me that it has a fire department, and I'm going, what would catch on fire other than homes?
Well, actually, we're in the foothills to the mountains, and there is a lot that can catch fire. And a couple of years ago, we had a really bad forest fire that was right in the mountains above our town and got within. I mean, the smoke was incredible, but it was close enough that you could see the flames from town. And it was scary. It was scary. And I was glad that we had our fire department, because we also have our own wildland firefighting team that right now I've got 4 guys in Oregon fighting that fire, the one that's in Oregon. And then I've still got somebody in Ruidoso that's working on that fire. So we have a really good. Yeah, they had a really
know
bad
it was
fire.
still going.
Well, it's smoldering. There's still spots that are smoldering, but then there's been a lot of rain and flooding, and it's just been a mess down there for those people. It's been pretty bad.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you're safe. Glad you're
Yes.
safe, and hope the others will
We're
be
safe.
as well.
We're safe. Yeah.
You know, the one thing that I was asking you about objects a while ago. I saw a photo many years ago, and I kept looking at it thinking, that's the outline of a needle. And it looked like one of those big old-fashioned needles, that was way big and looked square at the top. It didn't look like a modern needle.
Okay.
And I mentioned it was one that while I was holding it, it was revealing itself.
Okay.
And she hadn't seen it yet. And I went on and we were just talking. I wasn't trying to interpret it. It had already been done. But we were talking about, she was telling me about, I said, well, tomorrow there will be even more. So, just encouraging her to take care of it so it wouldn't get smudged or anything. And all of a sudden I'm seeing this needle, and I put it on the table and I turned it around and I said, what's this? And I said, what does this look like to you? So I wouldn't influence her. And she said, a needle. An old-fashioned needle. And I said, are you about to go in the hospital? Did you just get out of the hospital? And she leaned back and she said, that needle looks like the style that my aunt would have used during the wartime.
Wow.
I said, it does. Kind of clunky. And she said, my aunt was a nurse in World War II. I said, well, it looks like your aunt's come to say hello. So it was an interesting form of validation. And she said, I had a dream about her a couple of months ago. And I said, she's trying to reach you.
She's hanging around.
Yeah. I said, sit out on the couch and have a cup of coffee with her. Invite her to sit and visit, something. But leave the door open to her communication. And she said, I never remember my dreams. And I said, well, all you have to do is just say, talk to me wherever you are, and then you have to be open to receive it. But I thought that's why I asked you about objects. And anyway, I think
I think it's a difference in intuitive styles. You're picking up objects, but I wasn't picking up objects. It was shapes, but not shapes like that defined, but more like, the misty shape next to somebody that's a spirit, or where the you would get different things above in the aura, that were like your guides lined up behind you. You could see like white blobs up there that made me think of guides or angels that are your whole army standing there at your back.
You're talking about the psychic part of this last fair. I was in the little room to the left, and of course Hannah's right, the
right
art
there.
photographer's in the same place that you were.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go to the big room And as I'm going back, they're to my left. And of course, there are chairs and stuff in the lobby area. And just out of the corner of my eye, there was a young lady sitting there. She was probably early 20s. And I just
Uh-huh.
kind of glanced over and I saw angel wings. And I thought, oh, the back, the what do you call it? The fabric behind the camera. I thought, well, that's a neat way it folded or something. It didn't dawn on me that it was anything else but the fabric. And when I came out that evening, I overheard Hannah and her sweetheart and a woman talking about her daughter's angel wings in the photograph. And I stopped and I listened. I didn't say anything to them. I listened. And their granddaughter had passed away when she was 2 years old. And it was that young girl's daughter that had passed away. And they were
Oh,
talking about the angel wings. But I mean, when I saw them, they were huge. They were not like a kid's wings. And I thought, angel wings. And we sometimes will say they got their angel wings yesterday, knowing that they're not really turning into angels, but that's a beloved expression we have for
sure,
people.
sure,
But
sure.
what I had seen was huge angel wings just out of the corner of my eye. And I thought, what are the odds for me to come back out here and overhear that conversation? I was being told, yeah, you did see the wings, and this is why. And I just
Yeah,
stopped, listened, kept my head forward, and walked back to my table.
right,
So there's no
right.
telling what you're going to see, what you're
There
going to
really
get.
isn't. I, and I kind of before before we sat down for this, I was trying to put some thoughts together to try to, remember things that I might want to talk about. And one of the things that I thought about was there were these three sisters that came in, and they each had a picture done. And the same image showed up beside each one of them, and their mother had passed. So it was a pretty easy assumption to think that it was their mother that was showing up for all three of her daughters in their picture. But then after they left and they were, off in the fair talking to other folks, the next several people that sat down for me had the same image showing up next to them. And I got concerned because it's not that common for someone to show up with someone. It's not every picture like that. So I closed down for a few minutes thinking, okay, something's here that shouldn't be. And I went and got Yanni, and Yanni came and she said, oh yeah, there's somebody hanging around, and she thought she had cleared that person out, but she hadn't. Uh, it was still showing up for pictures. And it may have even been you, Elaine. Did you come by maybe? Do you have any memory of this? But you said she thinks she's helping. Something about,
I don't remember that.
I'm pretty sure it was you. You came in after Yanni, and it's like she thinks she's helping. And after it was explained to her that she really shouldn't be in pictures that weren't her family, she finally went on. But it was like probably a dozen pictures that this same image was showing up in. It was really interesting. It was very interesting.
I wonder if she was trying to get attention too, if she was trying to communicate.
I don't know.
Uh, Zoe says hello. Can you hear her? That's that's the
One of the
youngest cat
cats.
in the house. Yeah. There are two left out of the five that I moved out here with. And this is the Mama Girl, and this is Mama Girl's daughter, Zoe. They're all of about 9 months apart. Yes. Mama Girl was a young mama when she had her babies.
Oh
Anyway,
my.
well, the vet said she was probably barely 9 months old. Now
Wow.
that's
That's
pretty
tough.
young. That's
That's
pretty
tough.
young.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's been a great mom. Anyway, animals are another thing that seem to be fairly common showing up in photos as well, either in a, like you said, not an exact shape, but it's an animal that's been around.
Well, and I know people would leave my table and take their pictures around the room and show their pictures to different people, and they would get multiple readings off of those pictures. You would see them, and other people there with tables would see them and give them their feedback, and it was really kind of cool because they could get a lot of layers of information out of one picture. It was really kind of cool.
And that's because we some of us work on the same signal. I almost said channel, but we don't all work on the same one. So it's good at different layers and I think part of that is because the more developed the picture gets, 10 minutes can make a lot of difference with those photographs. So
Yes, it can.
The more developed it is, yeah, somebody else may see something if you're just going down the road. But I've had so many people just stop at the table and say, "Do you interpret these? Or what can you tell me about this? Or do I need to sign up to get a reading on the photo?" No, just let me see it. I'm excited about it too. Let me see, kind of thing.
Let me see what you got.
But let me see. Yeah, I don't have anybody. Just let me see what you got. But I'd always remind them, before you leave, if you're the Marsha or whoever's taking the photo, if they're not busy, show it to them so they can see what else has developed.
What else has popped up? Yeah.
Yeah. And they'd get it. Really? We can do that? And I'd say, well, it depends on whoever's taking your photo, but they always like to know what else has developed since you left their space. So I'm sure some did, but some didn't, I'm sure.
Some did. Some did, absolutely.
They pop back. Did you see this? Yeah. I had one girl I can remember bring a photograph back the next day. It was right at the end of a Saturday session. You know how they are. They want you to get up and get out. And I said, "I'm so sorry. I can't even stop to visit because we're supposed to get out of here." And I picked up my little bag and she walked to literally out to the, outside with me. Excuse me. And I said, "Are you going to be coming tomorrow?" And she said, "Yeah." And she said, "Yeah, I'm meeting another group of friends here." I said, "Well, bring it with you tomorrow." Excuse me. And she did. And just from glancing at it to the next day, it was a totally different picture. When I saw it the day before, it was lavenders and pinks and a little bit of a beigey white color. Couldn't see her face. When she brought it the next day, it was indigo blues, purples, with a stream of green all around her.
Wow.
Totally different photograph. And I said, "Are you sure this is the same photo?" And she said, "Same one."
Wow.
It changed. And we finally figured out, green is healing. And her mother was going through cancer treatment.
There you go.
Yeah. But I was so surprised that it was such a dramatic change from pale, gentle to
Deep
vibrant.
and rich. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got a drink. Hang on, folks. Here we go. Okay. There you go. Get a drink. I usually have a straw in them, but I forgot to bring my straw in. If you could come back and do it again, would you? No, I'm not asking you to do it. You could, would you?
I mean, I could see coming back and filling in for Hannah or something if she, needed me, but I wouldn't want to do it on a regular basis. I'm getting worn out.
Understand. When are you looking to retire, sweetie? And what are you going to do?
I've got my
this time.
Yeah, my replacement has been hired. I'm training, and it's a long process because a lot of the stuff that I do, I only do once a year or 4 times a year.
You're freezing different times.
You're freezing on mine. Yeah, I don't know.
I just got a notice that said low network bandwidth. That may be
I don't know
why.
if that's I can't tell if it doesn't look like it's on my side. Maybe it's on your side.
We're both in kind of isolated places. I've
We are.
probably got more access than you do, considering where you are. But anyway, so you would come be a replacement.
I would come and fill in if I needed, if I was needed.
You know, you'd be open with open arms. You and Mac both. People ask about Mac all the time. They ask
I
about you.
know.
They ask about you. Your personalities were just, you know, so warm and so loving and attentive to the clients.
Right. Right.
Even if you didn't say what they wanted to hear.
I tried not to be too negative.
Well, you know, the color is the color.
The color
It
is
is
the
what it
color.
is. Yep.
Yeah. There were some, I can remember, particularly one of the trips to Midland that we did, there were several people that came in that their auras were very, there was color along the bottom that was kind of a muddy red, muddy, not rich, but muddy. And then a lot of dark, just a lot of dark. And when I first saw the picture, it was a little unnerving, you know. But I thought about it for a minute and it made sense. They were they they were drug in there against their will. And Midland is not as open a place as Austin is, as far as people being open to ideas like horror photography and psychics and that kind of thing. And I really felt like that those guys, it was usually guys, and their girlfriend made them bring them there, and they didn't want to be there, and then they made them sit for a picture, and they didn't want to do that either, and they had just pulled their energy in so tight in a self-protective kind of way that it hardly showed up on the camera at all. It was really very interesting. It was like a self-protection
For you
kind of
folks out
thing.
there that are not familiar with Texas, Midland, Odessa, they're two different cities, but quite often people say Midland, Odessa area. It's a straight shot down one highway, no turns whatsoever. But
Right,
it was at one time, and often on still is, oil country, and
right,
it's not uncommon for Midland to be high rise apartments and money flowing and things going great, and then we can't call it a boom crash, but all of a sudden it's not, and you can
right,
pick up a house for $100,000 at one point for 45, and it would be a house that when the boom is there would have gone, a big house would have gone for 800 outrageously. But it's also a big Bible restrictive state beliefs, I mean
yes,
area. It's getting better
yes,
because some of the people that were forced to come by their companies to come work there, they stayed for whatever reason. Maybe they started their own businesses and there was enough to support what they were doing, or they stayed to work for the same oil company but work from home. They're not the guys that are doing the drills, so
right,
the
right,
drill work. But it's a strange little area. So the way Marsha just described it, I believe it in a heartbeat. I could see that happening because I read for variety of jobs, everything from secretaries to guys that were away from their families for a month at a time before they could go home.
yeah,
And they were kind of dumped there. They're going to make good money. Don't misunderstand me. They will be paid well, but they had to go away. And there's nothing. I mean, when you drive from Odessa to Midland or vice versa, we would see big acreage of trailers that belonged to companies that were brought there for workers to live in. And I was on the plane from Austin to Midland, which we call it a puddle jumper kind of thing,
right,
one weekend for a fair. And I just happened to sit next to a young lady. Well, then she's probably in her 30s, with a young boy with her. She was in the process of moving there to work for a high corporate entity, and they bought her a house
Wow.
well, the house belonged to the company, but she was going to live in it free of charge. And
Wow.
it was a 3-year contract, and then they promised to move her back to Dallas. Now that's kind of being pushed. But they
Wow.
were, I mean, she could save her money for 3 years. I mean, that's impressive. But that just goes to show what kind of energy could be there, why you would get that muddy water look too, not just from the guys, but from others as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when they have to stay a long time, it's not nice. Midland, Odessa is a strange area.
It
Always
is.
had been. I guess it always will be. But Marilyn says the
Probably.
fairs have really been well received that they've done.
There's loyal participants that come. Absolutely. And they're so excited that we're there when we're there. Yeah.
I can remember when Luttrell had the fairs. I think Luttrell was the first one that really started, or was it Julie? Julie lived in that area, so she may very well have been the one that started the whole thing. But I remember Luttrell's fairs; they were lined up at the door, and they were all in Midland. They were not in Odessa, and people would come from Odessa and say, "Why won't you
Right.
come to Odessa?" And it's only 30 minutes away. And part of it was because the producers couldn't find a place that would rent to them to do the fairs.
Right.
So, and we were busy, busy, busy. And then all of a sudden, we weren't. It's
Mm,
like somebody flipped the switch, which was odd.
interesting. Yeah.
And Luttrell quit going. Corpus was the same way. The first 4 or 5 times we went to Corpus, oh my gosh. Everybody that was there, vendors, readers, we were all up to here both
Busy,
days.
busy, busy. Yeah.
And then it wasn't. It's really interesting the way the fairs go up and down.
Yeah.
But when you have, I've also been at fairs where the cameras were the busiest of everybody. Well, it's an oddity, but you get a reading as well. Really? So I could see why they would spend their money on the camera, because it's a validation. They can take it home and say, see the colors mean.
Here it is.
Yeah, here it is. It doesn't lie. They can't take the whole tarot reading or, whatever home with them, but they can the photo. And that's pretty, the camera has always fascinated me. You've explained it better than anybody that I've heard and how it works.
Really?
Yeah.
It's an amazing piece of technology. It really is. It's complete science. There's nothing woo about the camera itself. That's science. And that's what makes it so incredible. It really is incredible.
I don't know what kind of camera they were using, but when I was when Central Texas Parapsychology Association was alive and well, we were invited to come to San Antonio to one of the universities and be lab rats, basically.
Yeah.
But what it was, and Colonel Jackson picked, I think, like 6 of us to go. I don't know what, 2 or 3 board members and some others that volunteered. I mean, there was no pay involved. We just went because he wanted to be part of the research, which we were all enthusiastic about. So
Sure.
we walked into a building. We were met by people in lab coats. and we noticed that there were Air Force limousines and a couple of Army cars laying around. Well, we know that they research psychic ability all the time. They've been doing it forever, especially in Europe. Yeah, come on, people, get real about this. But we didn't know that they were there to be part of what we weren't even sure what we were going to be part of. We just knew that we were going there. And my thing with Colonel Jackson at the meeting was, are we getting any shots or blood drawn? Because I'd been there, done that. And he said, no. I said, good. Okay. So we went in and we walked into a warehouse that had little buildings built in the warehouse. And they were small, like 12 by 12, another one that was smaller than that, one that was bigger than that. And we all went through all of them. And they were on platforms. And you walked up like 2 or 3 steps, nothing in them, no windows. And all we had to do was put our hands on the wall and walk all sides. From where you walked in, we all went to the right and walked around and stopped, and then they turned the light back on and we walked out. But we could not open the door. They didn't lock it on us. They just said, don't open the door until the light comes on. And we could hear the click, 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 click. And it sounded like they were taking pictures. It was really a video and pictures going on. And and there was a number on the wall, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they would say, follow that line stay as straight as you can, and one person at a time. And 4 people would put their hands along that wall. Mine happened to be about hip size. And they took into consideration people's height, how tall they were, one at a time. And then they showed us what they were doing. They were taking aura photos as we were moving along the walls.
Okay.
And all of the photos were a different color. We found out later.
So what was on the other side of those? What was on the other side of those walls?
I have no idea. We were inside a building, so I never saw any equipment. I never saw anything set up. I don't know where the cameras were. I don't have a clue. No clue. Nothing was inside those little buildings at all. We found out later that had something to do with night vision technology.
Okay.
But they were our auras. We were putting the color on the wall with just our fingers, not our fingers on anything, just rubbing the fingers. And they said, they stressed, it's important that you do not take your fingers off the wall. Well, that's just print. That's just that.
Okay.
Just rubbing it. And they said, connect, if you can get your little finger in there. Not everybody could because they're shorter, but get as many fingers on the wall. Interesting. Colonel Jackson requested results, but he got redacted results. I mean, there was enough in it to give us what I'm sure they thought we needed to know. But it was an interesting experiment, and the colors were not always the same at all. And I thought, I wonder if anybody was solid white and you just couldn't see it. Because there was one particular girl, her first name was Jan. She was a phenomenal medium. And it would not have surprised me at all if she was solid white.
Wow.
Not at all. And there was another guy that he was a big guy and an athlete and just go, 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 go all the time. And we thought for sure his would be orange or red. You know, he just had such passion about everything in life. And I don't know how he meditated, but he did manage to. But they didn't tell us, and they didn't send us a solid photo. I knew where my handprint would have been. But they sent them separate. So if anybody had been, and through two of the buildings, I was the lowest one. And I would not have been able to know what Jan's color was or his color. I think his name was Julian. I can't remember. It was an interesting experiment, and we'll never really know the full truth about it. But
that's cool.
And we worked with this is even more interesting to me, a Catholic university in San Antonio, Texas.
Which one?
I think it was St. Mary's, if I remember correctly.
St. Mary's?
I can't remember. At that time, there was only one Catholic college would had old buildings on it.
Oh, yeah.
Old buildings. So it had to have been one of the first, if not the first. And we were there all day. They walked us into the cafeteria. They had a little section set up where we could, go through and get some really good food. And the officers sat down and visited with us. But we were told not to ask any questions. And I'm going, well, that's no fun. We should be able to pump them for information. Come on, people.
Yeah,
But
come on.
yeah, but we talked about all things. Sometimes they said, yes, we've had readings. And sometimes somebody would say, yes, my mom, my aunt, my dad, I grew up on the farm. We talk about animals, and they gave us a lot more information than they thought they did, just in their casual conversations.
Uh-huh.
But we were all about, where do you fit in all this? Do you believe in psychic ability? Do you already, or are we proving to you something that you don't already know? And they would talk
Right.
to us about that.
Mhm.
But what they were doing to use this for, they never committed.
No clue. Yeah.
No clue. But I do believe that it was part of a psychic investigation. I don't know how it would fit in with the night vision thing. I don't have a clue about that. I have no idea. To me, that's spectrum, but it's a spectrum. Night vision is a spectrum, science-based thing, or was then. I'm not an expert.
It is. Yeah.
So, but it was an interesting. We talked about that for months, off and on. The ones that, yeah, we did, but we still felt like lab rats. Anytime psychics go in for any kind of, let's see how this works, we're walking out going, you still don't know how it works. You just know it is. You just know it is.
I mean, it's yeah.
Have you heard about the kids in California? They've been on television several times, but they're usually on something like the Sunday show on the morning. The little, I don't know how to, now I like to watch it, but I can't remember what the name of it is, with Jane Pauley. She has little short stories about things of interest. But there's this group of kids in California that they've been studying now for at least 3 years. And those kids can see through walls. I mean, it's amazing. The next generations of psychics are just amazing.
I keep seeing
Go
these
ahead.
little video clips on Facebook, on the reels of this boy. He looks like he's 8 or 9 years old, maybe. Well, he talks like he's at least 9, but he's not a big boy. He's very slender but these videos are all being made in the car, and the car is parked, and mom's in the front seat with the camera. And
Yes.
have you seen these? And this,
2. I've only seen 2. He's
the
amazing.
things that he talks about are incredible. I don't know his name. I don't know anything, but he's an amazing child.
Yes, he is. And he's just so
Amazing.
nonchalant about it. It's just a fact to him.
And his mother ask a question, like, well, what's happening when this happens? Well, the soul comes in and he's all very descriptive, and he doesn't stutter. I mean, this is the way it is. These are the facts.
First time I saw him, I thought,
afraid.
Yeah.
He's not
afraid.
I don't think he's channeling. I think he just knows. He just knows.
It's him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful spirit.
I think he's incredible.
I think it's Berkeley. Oh, I've only seen 2, but I will keep watching for him. And I saved the 2 that I saw because I wanted to go back and hear it again.
And hear it again. Yeah.
I just want to, yeah. So I have it. That was a couple of weeks ago. I thought he was so cute because it looked like he was climbing all over the car.
Yes.
Like
yes. And it's, I try to see what's written down at the bottom, and it changes all the time, but it had something to do with indigo. So, so they're saying he's an indigo child, but I think he's way beyond an indigo child, way beyond.
Yes. About 5 or 6 years ago, the community started getting information about the kids that were coming in at that time. And they would have been 5 or 6 years ago, they would have been 5, 6, 7, a maybe. So that puts them back being born in a certain group of time. And
Right.
they literally were coming in from other universes. And people are going to be wondering, what does this have to do with photography? But they're going to have a different aura. They're going to have a different
They
energy.
they probably would.
Yeah. And what's interesting about this with some of the meditations and I can be washing dishes and get information. You know how we all work.
I
But
know.
I know that what I'm getting is that they're coming in from other universes, other planets, to make sure that Earth does not explode itself. Because if we get thrown out of orbit, it throws everything out of orbit.
Is
Every
it
planet.
planetary or is it dimensional, Elaine?
Both. And I say that absolutely because I know, I don't know what other people know, but I believe that when something does shift, it puts us in another realm, whether we realize it or not.
Right.
It does kick us into another realm. That doesn't mean that we are all of a sudden not living in our house. It means everything goes with us, but things are different. This is a political year. You're going to see a whole lot of that realm change. And people, every political year that happens, but this one is major, more major than anything since Lincoln. I mean, it is major. So, and it's more major because we have so much destructive ability. We have bombs. We have all kinds of things. But these kids have been coming in for a certain amount of time because they have knowledge that we are not, we don't have the brains to work with it. They do. And this kid may be one of them. And the kids that I've been seeing in California, it is just so easy for them. I'm used to being the lab rat that says, I'm holding up a number. What is it?
Right. They're
holding up
so beyond that.
Oh,
so beyond that.
And you'll have a 3-year-old talking to a 7-year-old and they're carrying on the same conversation. And that's what's so interesting about the group that's in California. There's no difference, no matter how old they are, whether they're male or female, they are right on the same ticket.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter what culture they're from. It doesn't matter what area they're from. When they start talking about certain subjects and a group leader will throw out a subject and it's and they're off and running. So it's amazing. But this kid, yeah, I bet he's part of that group that came in with a different kind of chip. And they're
going to have to go looking for YouTube videos.
Yeah, it's because these kids are coming in with, I would love to be a teacher right now.
Oh, gosh.
In the elementary school, I was a teacher in elementary, and some of the things that I saw 30 years ago was just amazing. I think my 3rd year in a classroom, second grade, I was teaching 2nd grade, and we were assigned to the lunchroom. Everybody rotated, that kind of stuff. And the kids' bathrooms had really heavy doors. And even though they had a lower where they could reach handle, it was so heavy that most of them couldn't get out of the bathroom. So somebody was always stationed in that area. Well, I'm here and I'm hearing this boom, boom, boom. So I walk over to the girls' bathroom and I said, whoever that is, stand back, baby. And I heard little feet shuffling and I said, you okay? And she said, yes. Well, when I opened the door for her, she's one of the 3rd graders, and she's standing there with her hands on her hips, and she says, makes me so mad, I can't walk through doors anymore. I can't walk through doors anymore. And anymore. And she just kept strutting right over to her table. She was so disgusted. She was
wow.
I can't walk through doors anymore. Come to find out, long story short, cute, just a precious little girl. She's kind of tall for her age, but I mean, you could count her ribs. She was so thin. Found out from another teacher she had leukemia. Every opportunity that, like every holiday, something was going on with her poor little body. Well, she had a brother in the 1st grade, and Tommy, I know that sounds odd. And the first day of school, he got a black eye. Well, she saw me in the hallway and she stopped me and she said, "Thank you for letting me out." And she said, "I apologize for being ugly." And I said, "Honey, you were just frustrated. Don't worry about it." And she said, "I know you're different, so I'll tell you." And she did this, and I leaned down and she said, "I have to make sure I get through this year, because if I don't, he'll end up in jail. If I can make it through this year, he'll be okay." And then
Oh
she
my
darted out.
God.
I mean, just boom, 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 boom. But
Oh
she
my
saw
God.
me as being a different, different. And she would tell me things.
She
Her
could tell.
secret.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she could tell.
She made it through the year, but she did not make it through the summer. And at Easter, yeah, Easter, she stopped after we came back. She stopped by my room and she waved. And I thought she was just stopping to wave to be silly and then she'd go on. And she waved and she said, and I said, so I told the class to be still. And I went out in the hallway and she said, "I won't be back next year." She said, "We're moving so I can be at a different hospital, but I'm not going to make it. So I just wanted to give you a hug."
Oh, Elaine.
Just broke my heart. And she didn't. She made it through maybe a month after school was out. But I understand her brother went on to he became an attorney. I know that. He
Oh,
became an attorney.
wonderful. Wonderful.
So you never know what's going on with these kids. I mean, she knew she wasn't going to live long. She knew it.
Yeah.
She knew it. But there was something about that whole school year he had to have the experience of. And then he would be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
She was his board, so
Anchor.
to speak.
She was his
Yeah.
anchor. Yeah.
She was his anchor. I would love to get some of these kids in front of a camera. I would love to.
And just talk to them. Just
Yeah.
talk to them.
Yes, and have them do
Gosh.
their auras. Are they going to throw
Yeah.
new colors? What we're being told is that some of the kids that are coming in, they're going to have different blood types. Well, we already have rare blood types. We have a variety we're stable with. What's going to happen when somebody bleeds green? What's going to happen when somebody comes up with a different blood color? Or they go, "What is this? We're going to have a new name for this blood." Well, that's going to be
Right.
really rare. So unless they're prepared to heal themselves, our medical people are not going to know how to help them. And if they need blood replacement, are they going to be able to take our like O positive or O negatives or whatever it is that we do these days? And,
Yeah.
those are the thoughts that I have. Have they come in truly to be able to survive to adulthood where they can be to their full, if that's their intent? They may not,
Well,
they may have a shorter lifespan. I don't know. But they're coming in different. They're saying they're going to have different colored eyes, they're different colored hair, different colored skins, different universes. What are they going to look like?
interesting. Yeah.
So when I saw those kids in California it doesn't look like a lab. It looks like a bunch of living rooms put together, which I think is great. But
Right.
when I got that information, I was looking at some of the stuff, the reels, and saying they don't look any different to me. That doesn't mean that that's the group they're talking about, but it's going to be different. Our world is changing and we don't have any control over it. But what else can the aura cameras tell us as we put adults and younger people in front of the camera? What else can it tell us about future generations? That's what I want to know. That's what I'm excited about.
The thought that comes to mind immediately is that the camera has to evolve along with us. And, whether or not it is depends on the people there that are making them, if they're working off of a biofeedback kind of system, is that system going to be able to identify different energies that are not in its wheelhouse? They're going to have to they're going to have to use AI because it's going to have to be able to learn. It's going to have to be able to learn and change along with the energies that it's photographing.
Were y'all able to give feedback to the companies about if something different showed up? Did you send in a notification? Did they ever ask you, send a survey or anything like that?
Nope. Nope.
The camera is a piece of science.
It
right?
is.
Okay.
Yes.
So if they don't get feedback from the people that are using it in a and I don't know what other uses it gets. I have no clue, but I'm assuming that their dedicated buyers are people in the metaphysical world, right?
I would think so, yeah.
Okay. So if the people operating the cameras are not noticing challenges, then they're not going to pick up anything. Unless the camera, like AI, unless the camera begins to change itself.
That's what
Is
I'm
that
saying.
possible?
Not at this point that I'm aware of, but that's the direction they need to go. The camera needs to be able to learn like an artificial intelligence does. And as far as I know, at present time, it cannot. But that's what needs to happen.
How would you get that information to them? Could you pick up the phone and call somebody that you talked to before and say, as a community, this is what we're hearing, this is what we're getting through meditation? And they may already know. I don't have a clue. I'm assuming they don't. But what if some of you folks did tell them, the people we are photographing are more evolved, especially amongst the youngsters? What are you going to do to pick this up with the changes in the camera?
Right.
Because it had to make changes over the years.
Yeah.
It had to.
But as far as I can tell, it didn't.
Yeah. That's why I was asking about the film a while ago. I would have thought the film wasn't
it's not the film. It's not the film. It has nothing to do with the film. It really doesn't. That's just an easy way to get an instant picture. It would be, I would find it hard to believe that nobody has brought this up to them, because you've got, a whole country of psychics and mediums and metaphysical people that are exposed to these cameras and using these cameras. And I can't believe that they would not have thought of that and mentioned it. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the back room they're playing around with it and trying to figure out how to do it. But AI is so new that they're not, I doubt they're there yet. But I bet they're thinking about it.
I know the government's involved with some of that stuff, but I don't know how. But maybe if they start getting different color combinations or different kinds of imagery, and you and the Marshas and the Macs and the Hannahs are going, well, what is this?
Yeah.
I'm afraid they're going to think there's something wrong with the camera or the film, and they won't question it in the way of people are evolving. So there's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with the people. It's just an additional methodology of information.
Right.
That makes sense. Did I say that right?
And for the camera to understand how to interpret it.
But interpretation is in color, right?
Yes.
Pretty much. Other than the images that or the little cloud on the shoulder, or whatever.
Right. Right.
Almost makes me want to call the company.
Yeah. I mean, it could be that
this woman is crazy.
Well, it could be that they just need to add more colors to the spectrum, But
what colors?
Well, I mean,
because I think those are pretty much the primary.
All the variants in between. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've got your rainbow, but you've got where purple blends into blue. There's all those variants in there, and where blue blends into green, there's all those variations.
Right.
So it's just giving it the ability to expand and not be so linear. So not just green, but and I mean the camera does do that. You get variations of green. You get a lime green and you get an emerald green and you get kind of a greenish blue. So it it tries, but I think if they give it more of a spectrum, that it might be able to do a better job.
I'm going to talk to Hannah at the next fair, if not before.
Yeah, see what she says.
Yeah, because she's using it now. She may have noticed
Hmm.
something different. But when I opened the website and I saw mostly blue and purple, I'm going,
I know the pictures on their website are not a representation of the pictures that I got. Not at all.
I'm going to, I should have brought those in here, and I apologize because I'm going to leave the camera. The ones that were on the website were mostly purplish. You saw that.
Right,
Now, the
right.
three that I have in my hand, I love to take pictures with people. The purple one I'm going to hold up is Laura Tree and me. Now, on
Hold
your
it up,
end,
hold it up to your little camera on the front of the computer.
see, it's not even showing you the right color because I see it in lavenders. And see the white lines on either side?
Yeah. Oh, I know exactly what that is.
Over here? Yeah. But this picture is not blue as you're seeing it. It's lavender. At the very top, it has a bluish rainbow looking thing. But
Yeah.
it's
Those white lines on the side, Elaine, and I tried to show Hannah that camera picks up glare very well. And I was covering the rail at the top of the curtain. I was making sure that the any metal on the sides was covered up with the curtain of the stands that hold the curtain up. And also I used big sheets of black construction paper as a bonnet over the camera, which I don't think she's doing. So she's
she's
getting
not.
glare. She's getting glare in her pictures. I worked real hard to eliminate that because I didn't want somebody to see something and think it was something else. That's glare. Those two
I'll ask
white
her about.
lines are glare. Yeah.
We didn't get it. This one was taken July the 7th before my readings on Sunday. So I had done readings all day the day before. I don't know if
Okay.
you'll get a good look at this. It's dark blue closest to my body and there's no face. Right under where my face would be is a ball and a smaller ball under it. Then a greenish rainbow, very pale, and then above that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 balls. Can you see that?
Oh, wow. That's
That's
really interesting.
that's different from this one.
Very much.
See
Put that other one up again and lower it down a little bit. No, yeah, look there.
the
Wow.
blue?
That's
I'm trying.
incredible.
I'm there's some glare coming in from my slats. That
Yeah, but I
big
can
white.
see it. I
That's
can see it.
yeah. And then the other one is two of us. This is Francine and I. Now remember, I had a ball in front of me, and Francine has the lavender over here, and
Uh-huh.
that's me. We're sitting side by side.
Interesting.
And when she took one by herself, she was solid lavender, like this one.
Right.
Interesting. But when we're side by side, chair to chair, that was the division of color.
Huh.
And those are the
So
balls.
what do you think that is? What do you think those balls are? Uh-oh. You went away. Are you there? Elaine? Have I lost you?
I lost.
Come on back. There you are.
Yeah, I I hit a button. I hit something.
Of course.
My apologies.
Of course.
Sorry, Adam, for making this complicated. You were asking
What you think those balls are?
spirits. Truly. This one was taken on Sunday. I had been pretty busy on Saturday, and I had it says I'm mute. Am I mute?
No, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
This is more spirits. I have she, the dragon, the leprechaun, and occasionally one other. So they're not just guides. They're entities that are coming through. And the healing part is because this was taken on Sunday, I was very tired.
Yeah.
This was the beginning of the day from the day before. So I know that's every now and then when I'm real tired, I'll get that pale green. And I don't know what, because one is here and then one is over
your solar plexus.
The solar plexus, right. And then all of those at the top.
So do you feel like they're entities? You don't feel like those are your chakras that are just blowing up?
I'm not going to argue with that at all. They very well could be. And I wasn't very busy on Sunday, but I had about half of what I had on Saturday, but they were all intense. And on Saturday, about half the latter part of the day, everybody that sat down had major stuff going on. But this is the first time in a long time that I've had this kind of absolute, a perfectly round, a perfect square, a perfect whatever. Usually it's come all pretty.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Wow. After I was driving home that evening, we don't get together for dinners on Sunday. Everybody's too tired. But on the way home, I thought, I wonder if there's a shift in guidance. Because, we do go through guides.
Sure.
Well, the main ones stay. But we do have, sometimes we act as a trainer for guides in training kind of thing. But that didn't feel right either. So I don't know what that was, but I wanted you to see the colors. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
That was really what I wanted you to see.
Zoom doesn't do the colors justice. It looks mostly blue to me.
Yeah. And this is lavender. Can you tell it better that way? It's lavender.
I can see some purple in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So you still can't see a body in there at all. That's all black. That's all dark blue. And there's a quarter of a moon, a sliver of a moon up top. You probably can't tell it over here, but it's way up there. And there's this
what color?
White or silver.
Oh,
it looks like the bottom part of the moon. Just a little like the moon's sitting on it. It's real interesting. But it's the bottom. The bottom. Yeah. So, folks, the Aura camera is an amazing tool for all kinds of reasons. I found that it was, when I was every time I've been going through a difficult emotional effect, it shows up in an amazing way on the camera. I could be going into it or coming out of it, but it will always show up.
Absolutely.
I try very hard to get I know exactly who you're talking about. I don't remember his name, but I have not seen him in a long time.
Oh, I wonder if
I don't know whether he made it through pandemic. I have no clue. He was a slight, slender man, and he was very, very kind.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Very, very sweet. And always had that same little carry-all canvas bag. Always.
Yes.
Just so sweet. And I haven't seen him. There's certain people you look for. There's another older lady that I know you remember. She was had to be 90 if she was a day. And at one point, she was a major real estate owner and manager here in town. She was very, very wealthy lady, but you'd never know it. Never. But her husband was very, very sick. It made her sick being a caretaker. But
Oh,
even though she had the money, she wouldn't hire anybody to help her. And I haven't
oh,
seen her. And she always wanted a reading from me and Kramer and Yanni. Always. Every
yeah.
fair. And I haven't seen her since we started doing fairs again. So I have a feeling she didn't make
May
it.
have may have transitioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was not well the last time we saw her anyway. Well, she hadn't
Is
been for a
Kramer
long time.
doing the fairs?
Not in Austin. I don't know what the deal is, and I haven't pursued that questioning. It's none of but he is
Yeah.
doing fairs in San Antonio.
In San Antonio, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And he still reads at Nature's Treasures on Tuesdays.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
he's just not doing the bigger fairs for some reason. I don't know what all he's doing in San Antonio. He does Rivera's fairs. Those are twice. They're both at Hilton Hotels, but in a different part of town,
Uh-huh.
kind of. And I can't remember the name of her fairs. They do well. They're nice size. One hotel area is much smaller, but still, they have a nice drumming group every now and then. And I did them for a while. I did them up until pandemic, and then I haven't done them since the pandemic.
Yeah.
And he's very active. He has quite a following. So, folks, we're
Oh, I know
talking
he
about
does.
Kramer. Yeah, Kramer Wetzel, Wetzel. He has astrofish.net. He's an astrologer. Just in case y'all are asking who we're talking about. And he's highly respected in his field, highly respected. But yeah, he still comes to Austin to do his thing at Nature's Treasures. And I keep forgetting. I'll remember on Wednesday, dadgummit, Kramer was here yesterday, because I want to go in and
And say hi.
see him.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to say hi.
Yeah.
I lived within walking distance of Nature's Treasures for those 8 years, and I would sometimes go over and say hello and take him a cup of coffee or something. And I just haven't done that.
And
in a long
now
time.
they've moved, I understand.
They're in San Antonio. Oh, Nature's Treasures.
Right.
The very last day will be the 31st of August. Yes. Yes. In fact, Nance is putting together a gathering of the originals, of the
Oh.
original practitioners. And it's just the readers that are still here. Some have moved out of town, whatever. Some are not doing this anymore, but they've been invited for the ones that came in the first year of the practitioners program and stayed. So I'm doing it. I haven't done that work there for, no, that's a lie. I have to. I didn't do it for a while during the pandemic. And then it took a little bit of time to get scheduling back in. But I have for the last year and a half. So I'm kind of closing like bookends.
Right.
It's gonna be a fun day. It's just those practitioners, and she's got some vendors that also participated, and so it's gonna be a mini fair, but for the public. Diane Palmer had moved to San Antonio, so Kramer, and she doesn't drive, so Kramer's gonna bring her in. But she worked at Nature's Treasures for a long time. And
So
and
are
did
they gonna move all of that to their new location, the new Nature's Treasures location? And
Yep.
where is that?
North Austin. It was where her sweetheart had his second building. It's not where the original TOPS was, but it's the second building they had right on the access road of I-35 going north.
Okay.
Past 183, past 290. You just get off at one of those exits and go up it's really a ways over there. But it's a big building, and it's going to be
Nice.
all hers. So it's they're moving things slowly. They're having to move because of what Austin is doing with I-35. So
That's what I heard. Yeah.
I noticed the other day I was driving over there, and the Shell station that I used to shop at all the time is already boarded up, and they just remodeled it.
Oh, wow.
Also means that little Bank of America thing is going to close down as well. And houses, they're moving everything to the railroad track. Think of Nature's Treasures railroad track. They're moving everything to the railroad track, which includes part of the Fiesta, the U-Haul place. All of that's going to be moved. I don't know what they're doing about the church that's right there at airport and the exit. I don't have a clue. But the 31st, or last day of August, will be the last day that store is open. That doesn't mean it will be an empty store and just us. But the city is providing assistance in the move, but they're already moving a lot of the really big pieces out of the rock garden. And they will leave the big pieces inside until everything is packed up. But the inventory kids have been packed. They're not unpacking anything new. I mean, nothing new is going on the shelves. So anybody out there listening right now, we're recording this in the early part of August. If you love Nature's Treasures and you love that location, come give it some love, because it's closing down. But everything in it is going to the other nature. It's interesting,
the new place
where she started. That building, no, it isn't either. I lied. She started in one of the first Tops, Texas office products. Yes, products. Her sweethearts. He gave her a small section because her rocks were taking over their house.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And he said, well, you're going to start a business, or you're going to stop buying rocks. So so it's interesting that full circle, it's going back into what was a Tops business building as well. I think it's interesting. But we're sad to see it go. That building has been in Austin for a long time. I remember
it's history.
As a military used kind of place. I bought my very first backpack in that building.
Oh my gosh.
Right about where the office is, where Michael is. My very first backpack was hanging on that wall, and I paid $5 for it and carried it for 25 years at least. And I was probably 15 when I bought it.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So that building has been through a number. We don't know whether the hotel, motel, Stardust restaurant is moving, but probably will. It's right there. So people are trying to go to those favorite restaurants on the access road and I saw somebody in front of one of the Mexican food restaurants the other day. Their family was outside. They were taking pictures with some waiters and
saying goodbye.
Yeah, saying goodbye. Some of them are moving, some are retiring. And the city is providing assistance for if they want to stay in business. They're providing, I think, a financial. But like with Nature's Treasures, they're also supplying, it is my understanding, they're sending trucks to help them move.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
all right.
A lot of people won't realize how big Nature's Treasures, if you're listening, go online and see. This is a huge building with enormous pieces inside and outside. There's one inside that weighs something like 6 tons. Folks. It's a big amethyst geode thing.
Yeah.
So this is a bunch of tiny little things and a bunch of big
bunch of really big things. That's right.
Going to take some time, but they're already having events at the new location. I just haven't been over there, and they will have a little gathering of some sort. We were invited. Everyone was invited to go see what it looked like before even the events were being held over there. And it was on a day that I just couldn't go. I just couldn't make it. So, and I still haven't been there, but they announce what they're doing on their website. So public, look on the website. If you're local, it's available.
Make sure and check them out. Absolutely.
Yeah. Just have to make sure. Nature's Treasures has been a part of Austin for a very long time now, just like everything else along that area. So, but it's, as far as the metaphysical community, it's a treasure for us.
It is a treasure. Yes.
Yeah. And they do have aura photographer there. And I apologize, I cannot remember her name. She has long red hair. She's reminds me of a 1970s Earth Mama.
Is it the same kind of camera?
It is a camera on tripod. I don't know. I had a picture taken from it. She used to live in San Antonio. I don't know if she still does or not, but I think she did. I had one photograph taken, and it was a solid pink that day. That is the one and only.
Yeah.
That ever came out for me on solid pink. I mean, pink.
Yeah,
I didn't even
that's
see my pink.
different. That's different.
different. It's different for me, that's for sure. Pink is the color of love, folks. That's why it's. I'm not saying I'm not a loving person, but that's just
Oh
very
no, you're
unusual.
definitely a loving person. It's just not usual for your aura to be that color.
No, not at all. And it was at one of Lynn Rivera's uh fairs. I didn't do those for very long, but I really enjoyed my clientele that found me. I didn't do them long enough to build up a clientele,
There you go.
you know, but everybody that I was interacted with, the other readers and vendors, and she ran a tight ship, and she was a good producer, and she had a nice variety of people. And not most, but a lot of them came from out of town. They took the time to come do the fairs, which was interesting. But
Uh-huh.
this lady that is doing the aura photography here is the same one that worked for Lynn's fairs.
Okay.
So she's there. I'm not going to say every day, but she's there quite often. Lynn does a fair, I think on the first weekend. Marilyn still does a small fair once a month.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn, I think, does them just once a month too. In that extra little room, big room, the community room. And then Nance always has something going. Nance Erbach, she's always got something going over there, bringing people in. So this young lady she always has her camera set up. She's very good with the
Yeah.
public, and I hear her talking to them about the photos, and yeah, she's very conscientious about how she interacts and what she shares with people. So
Good.
come see us. Come see us.
Well, we're definitely planning a trip next summer. And it's probably going to be, well, the target is to be there for July the 7th, because that's our 50th wedding anniversary.
Oh my goodness, you don't look like you would be married 50 years. Good Lord,
Well,
girl.
we have, and we're planning a gathering, and I want you there, and I want to reach out to Yanni and have her be there, and Marilyn and Danny if they can make it. It's going to be right around that weekend that there's a fair. So I'm the 7th is actually a Monday, and I really kind of want it to be on the right date. So we're targeting that Monday evening, and we're going to try to have it at one of my favorite musicians' studio, and have a private concert and a little party and do it like that. That's the goal. We're working on it.
I
But
would be honored to be there. Thank
you'll
you.
hear more. You'll hear more when we get closer to the date.
Yeah, I understand that, but
Yeah,
you're trying to lock in a studio. Well, they're friends of yours, so that makes a difference. But yeah, that would be fun. Thank you.
wouldn't
I
that
would
be
love to
fun?
be there.
Doesn't that sound like fun?
Yes, it does. It does. It does. It does. You know, I cannot leave without encouraging you. And I know you're done with the camera. I get that, but you're a wealth of knowledge about the camera, and it did help form your psychic ability and your spiritual growth by the interaction you had
Sure,
not only with the camera but with the people. Now
absolutely.
we've tossed out some ideas about, and the public may think I'm totally crazy about what I said about the children coming in, but every generation has a different energy of children. That's just, I used to jokingly say these kids are born with chip in their heads, and uh, I I was gifted with a profoundly retarded child, but I was also gifted with a man who is now a grandfather. I look at that and go, my youngest is a grandfather. She's,
Hey, great grandma.
I know, two, and I saw the kids change when I was teaching school. Every first grader class seemed to be smarter than the one before. Well, in some schools, the first graders are doing third grade work. They're not Dick and Janes anymore.
Right.
They're taught Dick and Janes when we call them the little littles, which is pre-kinder and kinder.
Preschool. Yeah, preschool.
Yeah. So I've seen that, but now these kids that are coming in are scary. They're scary smart, but they
Yeah.
don't look at themselves as being smart. That's normal now
Yeah.
to be talking algebra in the second grade.
Yeah.
Give me a break. You know, to me, that's scary smart for me. But I never claimed myself to be a smart kid. I got out of school with good grades and I got out early, but still, but that was because I went to military schools. And
Yeah.
we were always, no matter where we landed in the United States, we were usually a year ahead because of the type of schooling we had on the military basis. It wasn't that any of us, well, some of us weren't smart. It was just a different approach to teaching.
Right.
So, and I'm grateful for that. But now when they're coming in and most of the class is able to do algebra in the second, third grade, and it's normal.
Well, I
Even in
mean,
the states that are,
I've seen stories about children that are getting their doctorates already,
yes,
children that are like 12 years old and they're getting their doctorates. There's some incredible stuff going on. Yeah.
Well, when my grandchildren, and again, this is normal. Now they're all in their 20s now. I mean, one of them has 2 children, and already had an Air Force career. So, I mean,
Wow.
but when they all except Spencer, because he was already gone. But when the bottom 3, age wise, they graduated with a high school degree, and some of them, 2 of them, I think, a 2-year and a 3rd-year degree, like they would have gone to ACC.
Associate. Right.
Associate's degree. And
right.
And they've gone on to go to college and
Right.
get their degrees. But
Right.
they did that partial homeschooling and partial computer stuff. We didn't have that access. Keith didn't have that access when he was growing up. Education has changed. And I'm not surprised that younger people are graduating with master's degrees, doctorate degrees by the time they're 20. I mean,
well, my granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter that's getting ready to turn 16, she's 15 years old and she's already taking courses in college.
yes.
She did summer school at ACC to get some stuff out of the way for later. It's like, okay, you're 15.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Education has so changed, but every generation has. Education is adapting to the kids that they're teaching, thank God. And Texas is not even high on the board. We're pretty low on the board.
They're not. Yeah.
So for Texas to be able to do it, what is New York doing? What is California? California's always been known as an educational state.
Right.
So I'm going to get back to the camera. I want to see. I want the camera to be used on these kids. I want their pictures taken. I want to see what the camera can tell us about in their aura. Are they going to be all white? Are they going to be all blue? Are they going to be all purple? Are they going to be healers? The healers show up as greens and yellows, right? The yellows? Yeah.
Yellows are teachers. Yellows are teachers.
Well, then there should be a lot of yellows because that's what I'm told they're coming in for. They're coming in for protection, prevention, and to teach a better way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it in a nutshell. That's what I've been told. But every time I see a kid walking in the grocery store and we make eye contact, it's like, am I supposed to should I be bowing to you? Just, who are you? Where are you from? I'd walk away.
What are you?
Yeah. Which planet are you from? Not to say that all are that way, but they're coming in with a totally different energy.
They are.
Totally different.
They are.
And I'm grateful. I'm not saying that's 100%, but we know that's being filtered. Well, the public's going to say, how do you know that? Well, we know they're filtering in to be of service. But every child, every one of us has filtered in to be of service in one way or another. And we've done it. We played our part. Now it's the next generations, which to me is every 5 years or so, not 10 anymore.
Right.
They have their assignments or they've volunteered. And I'm just in awe. of what
Yeah.
we've been told they're going to be able to do. Now, with that said, I still want them to sit down in front of an aura camera. See, next kid I see at a fair, I'm going to ask their mom if I can pay for an aura photo.
Well, I was always having kids come and sit for pictures. I loved it. Some of
Yeah.
those kids were amazing. They had amazing auras. And that's when I was doing it. So, they get better like you said, every 5 years, there's a whole new onslaught of them. But I saw some amazing kids.
You know what else I'm noticing? And maybe it's just because we're having more people having babies. There are more and more and more twins and triplets. And I can't help but
Wonder about that.
wonder why. Why? And I'm not talking, people can have triplets and twins and all that, especially with the artificial stuff that happens when people have
But
a
it's
hard time
happening
having babies.
naturally. It's happening
Yes,
naturally.
right.
Yeah.
It's happening. And of course, you see a lot of celebrities and such. Well, and they've been open with the public. We're having trouble having a baby. Therefore, medicine. And they end up having twins or triplets or whatever. But it's happening
Right.
for the everyday mom
Right.
more and more.
In fact, I think I saw something about a woman that had quintuplets and they were natural.
Well, that used to be the only way it ever happened, and it was rare.
Well,
But
yeah.
it doesn't seem to be all that rare. And I was thinking about it the other night, and I thought, well, maybe it's just because we have a higher percentage of people. We have more people on the planet. So that would be normal.
I don't know.
But I couldn't help but wonder if that had something to do with, are these people coming in teams?
Well, that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
I know in the animal world, when you see, like with deer, when there's more multiple births happening in the deer population, it's because the food source is good.
Oh, okay. Well, if we keep building buildings, our food source is in trouble. I know you laugh, but remember, I live in the country. I'm in the country. I'm 15 to 20 minutes away from the nearest interstate highway.
I'm in the country too.
Right. So, and Manor is being built up. Tesla is right next to the toll road, which is huge.
Oh,
They're
wow.
not even through building buildings. And
Wow.
apartment buildings are popping up all over in that beautiful landscape that used to be rolling hills on the toll roads. And between Manor and Elgin, give it another 3 years and our signs will be side by side.
Right.
We're getting a huge HEB. People are going to laugh about this, but this country, there were only 3, 4 maybe lights on 290. 290 public is going to Houston from Austin, basically.
Right.
And it's a major highway. And I might have to slow down and be at a light maybe 1 or 2 rounds. Now I'm thinking they've added more lights, which they needed. I'm thinking, okay, I need to leave at least 30 minutes early if I'm going someplace and I have to be in Austin by 9 o'clock.
Right.
Because more and more people are moving out here, even if they work in Austin. They're getting out of Austin. And I don't know who's moving into Austin. I think people are moving into Austin that don't know any better but it's all of these things being built, major shopping centers, apartments, and they're being built on harvestable land. And I would see corn, wheat being on the fields that are now going to be apartments. And that's why I jokingly said it. If they keep building buildings, we're going to have to come up with a different way of having food. It's not just in this area. It's all over.
It's all over.
Yeah. And that's scary. I don't have to be here because I'll be 80 in a couple of days. So I'm looking at probably 15, maybe 20 years, and it'll be gone like that. But am I going to cycle back here? I probably will. I don't know. But I feel sad for people who at some point, they're just going to see concrete and, that's
Yeah.
it. Unless we find a way to preserve greenery and animals. It's going to be really sad. But I still want to talk about cameras. How can we use the camera to foretell? Because it only takes pictures in that minute. You could go back 30 minutes later, like the gentleman did when he had that person, and then it was gone minutes later. I mean, it happens that fast.
Seconds later.
You think?
Yeah. The picture was identical, except for that part of it.
When you were talking about that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The spirit was there, and then the spirit wasn't there.
I think
that's the only thing that changed on that picture. They were identical. Yeah.
That episode reminded me of, was it Star Wars or Star Trek, where they had the machines that they just whizzed you and they could tell you what was wrong with you and then go pump and you were.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I know it seems strange, but that's kind of the way the camera, that's what the camera reminds me of. What else can we see in here that can help your health, your mental health? What else can it pick up? Your emotional stability? It's kind of like handwriting. Handwriting can tell us so much about a person. It's an expression also, and it changes from the older you get. It's very artistic, but it changes. Astrology, numerology can tell us a lot about what paths we've chosen to be here. But the camera, I think, is underused.
I do too. It really is.
I want to talk to them. I want to talk to the camera makers. Get my nose where it doesn't belong. But I think you're right. In the back rooms, they may be talking about all kinds of changes.
They have to be. It would be impossible for them not to be. I mean, that would be shocking for them not to be having those conversations. But whether or not they've got people working on expanding the spectrum like I think it needs to be expanded, I mean, let me know what you find out.
I've got spectrum written on my notes with you. Your notes. It's all your fault. So I've got AI for future cameras, more colors to the spectrum. Line.
There you go.
It's kind of, if I can get to her and she's not busy at the next fair. The last fairs of the years are usually pretty busy. You know that. And the first one in January.
Right.
Those tend to be our busier fairs. So
yes,
I won't try to interfere with her while she's at the fair. And I do have her phone number. I may call her before that. So, because I want to talk to her. The way the podcasts are set up is, it's called Conversations with the Ancients. And the whole point is to let the public know, well, to let our community know, but also let the public know whose shoulders we stand on. This just didn't come, somebody snapped their fingers and boom, we existed. We've been around for a long time, but whose shoulders do we stand on? Okay. The original people of the Calarian, I always say it wrong. And then there was, the lady that Mac and I cannot remember her name. And
Mac's mother.
And
Mac's mother.
Oh, yes. She was the one that bought the camera for Mac. Well, for herself, and said, Mac, we're going to do this. But your shoulders, I mean, you're somebody's shoulders in the future. All of you are. So I'm having different categories. There's the newbies, which none of y'all are in the newbies. The existing, which would be Hannah. And then the ancients, which would be you and Mac. And then the legends, living and non-living. Well, we don't have anybody just there yet, except the ones that come before, like the lady before, all the way back to what, World War I, World War II. And we don't know how long the governments have been playing with this camera. Truly,
right.
We don't.
Right.
And if we can track that back, which I'm going to go on a deep dive just for information's sake. And I think the web. Now I can't remember the right word for it. Public domain. I can probably find a lot on the public domain because the military has used it. And if it's not supposed to be out there, it won't be redacted. Right. We can find something, but we know the Russians played with the camera. We know the Germans played with the camera. So I want to get a full write-up about this on the site as a pre-introduction to all of you. Those are the shoulders you stood on. Now, people, if you're going to buy a camera, these are your experts to refer to. That's what all this is about in all of the categories. Okay. So you becoming a legend in your own right. If you can teach and you can share experience and you stand by your time behind the camera, then you deserve the recognition and appreciation, because that takes bravery. Dealing with any tool in the element of the metaphysical world over the last 10 years, it's gone up and down and up and down. And the laws that are on the books, and I've talked about this with almost everybody I've had a conversation with, is what we do is considered crazy by some people. There still is a law, at least in Austin. I can't speak for other cities or counties or state, and it may be statewide. I have no idea. But the honest to God description of somebody who's crazy is if they see, hear, smell, I think taste, anything that no one else does, they are crazy. And they don't call it arrested. I don't know what they call it arrested, but they can be put in an institution. Mm-hmm. And so for us to have a psychic fair and the door be open, the police could walk in at any time and say, "Fold it up, folks. You're going to jail." So for anybody to be working, doing anything, and I'm afraid a lot of psychics don't realize it. They don't have a clue. And I don't see it ever happening because there's so much public acceptance of what we do now. Yeah. Even religious acceptance of I can't speak for every church, but there's more science now. Right. Behind it. So for any of you to set up shop with whatever tool you had, was a brave thing to do. And you should be recognized, respected, and honored for your time and your effort, your education. You took over Mac's camera, it belonged to Marilyn, but you still had to learn how to use it. You still had to learn how to do it, that you did on your own time. Mm-hmm. And if you were to have taken classes, bought books, whatever, that would have come out of your pocket. So, yeah, thank you for that. And I'm so glad that I was exposed to it because I learned a lot about myself with these photos. I have a 3-ring binder that's about that thick.
Oh, my.
Yeah, what I do is I attach these to just regular paper, and then I, like and a half by whatever, and I make notes. I write on the pictures themselves what the date was, where it was. Right. And if I'm going through anything in particular, I'll say, just a little note to remind myself. Right. It goes back to before Mac. It goes back. My first photos were taken by the lady. So
that you can't remember her name.
And I looked at my photos the other night before I talked to Mac. I put them in I put them on paper, but then I put them in plastic so they don't get ripped or torn or whatever. And I use this acid freeze photo protection thing. And I pulled like the first 6 or 7, and her name is not on any of the paperwork.
Oh gosh.
Not one thing. I thought it might be on, because I've kept the printouts, some of the printouts that y'all did for the colors mean, and your names are at the top.
Right.
It's on hers. There's no color paper. There's no business card. There's none.
Nothing.
If I can find Ken Accord, he was a phenomenal astrologer. I said was. I don't know if he's still with us or not, but he was brilliant. I mean, beyond brilliant. I say was only because I haven't had contact with him in a long time, but he dated her daughter. And I don't, of course, now she's going to be in her 70s or such. Ken's probably 60, 70, something like that. But I think she was older when I met her, so she's got to be at least in her 70s. So if I could find Ken, he could at least tell me her name if Ken is still with us.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, COVID made a swath through our community.
Yeah.
It's not
I know.
nice. So
I know.
anyway, I cannot thank you enough for your past work, and I have a feeling your future work. If I can talk you into getting into the science of this again and going to the company with me and saying, hey, this is what's happening in our community. Come on, people.
Hey,
get AI in
I got
here.
questions.
Yeah, I got questions for you, son. Yeah. But I cannot thank you enough for your time today. Is there anything that you would like to leave with the public about the camera, about you, about the work?
Oh, just the joy of it all. I mean, I had such a great time. It was just so much fun, and I learned so much, and it was a joy. It was a joy.
You know, everybody that I have talked to, had conversation with, everybody, whether they're still doing whatever or not, that's the one thing two things they say is how much fun they've had, maybe three things, how much fun they've had, how much they appreciated the opportunity and the growth that they got, but the joy of helping other people.
Yeah.
That was their intention, the joy of helping the public.
Right.
So, yeah, I saw you do a lot of that. Thank you. I've seen people cry over these photos.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I know. Yep.
So I'm going to thank you again, Marsha Perkins, for everything.
Thank you, Elaine Ireland.
I look forward to seeing you next July at your 50th wedding anniversary. How exciting.
Yes.
I'm not going to get into y'all's love story, but I know the love story, so that's even cooler. Because I know how it started, too. So, that's so cool. That's so cool. She can share that with you another time. Thank you, Marsha. Love you bunches, girl.
Love you too, Elaine.
Mwah. Take care of yourself. Bye.
You too,
Bye,
sweetie.
folks. Don't forget to share a smile with somebody today if possible. Thank you again. I'm going to turn us off here. Love you.
Thank you for tuning into The Conversations with the Ancients, where we take you on a journey where you'll hear voices of metaphysicians from the past, as well as today's spirit mediums, healers, and others who show you a side of the paranormal you've never seen before. Remember to visit our website at conversationswiththeancients.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on Conversations with the Ancients.